Hey, what's up guys? Ben Tucker here, personal trainer and nutritionist. And today I just wanted to talk to you all about coming out of lockdown and how you should be looking to live a healthy lifestyle, how you should be looking to go about your nutrition and exercise basically when coming away from lockdown. Because I'm sure maybe most of you have been getting in your exercise in terms of maybe going out for walks, going out for runs, getting on your bike, but it's now coming out of it and mixing it all in with your normal work routine and kind of how to go about it, especially as well, living that healthy lifestyle, not having the time to be able to prep nice meals, cook nice foods, instead being back on the go and having to prep meals and be healthier that way and not just go for the quick option. So I just wanted to start by saying thank you so much for watching this video, this virtual festival weekend, and helping to support Greenwich and Bexley Community Hospice, who have lost funds due to COVID-19. Events have been cancelled and their shops being closed during this time. So hopefully things will start to get better soon. Now, so today I'm going to just run you all through a very brief nutrition standpoint. So coming out of lockdown, sorry, I'm just getting up my presentation. So coming out of lockdown and how to go about your nutrition is probably one of the biggest things. In fact, going about your nutrition in a day-to-day life is one of the biggest things. For anyone of you that are looking to lose weight, you're looking to drop some body fat or get healthier, one of the first things that I want you to kind of take away from this is that everyone's different. Okay, so for what works for you might not work for someone else, but as a whole, this is what this presentation is going to be on. What I recommend, get yourself a pen and a paper, jot down everything that is related to you and how you can fit that into your lifestyle, and kind of take notes as I'm going on with this nutrition. It's very relaxed, by the way, this kind of talk, so yeah, enjoy. So the first thing I want to talk to you all about is basically portion control. Now, why this is so important is because you can overeat any form of food, whether that be from fruits or vegetables even. If you're consuming more calories than what you're burning, you're going to put on weight. It's as simple as that. So one of the biggest things that we need to look at is controlling our portion sizes. So one thing you would want to maybe do is to have an indicator of how much you're actually eating. So try and use ways, one of the best ways I'd say to have an indication of how much food you're eating is to measure your food. So to weigh your food out and then to eat it that way. But obviously I understand not everyone can do that. Not everyone's got the time for that as well. And it is a ball ache to have to do that all the time. So one thing I would recommend doing is basically using your hands as a guideline. So for instance, your meat section of the plate, okay? So for your, the meat, the protein side of things, which I'll go into later, the protein side of it, roughly 3 ounces worth is what you kind of want for your palm size. That's about 3 ounces. If you get in that much, you're looking at about 160 calories worth of that, worth of like meat and stuff. Nextly, you might go on to the carbohydrate portion, which might be rice, or brown rice or brown pasta, brown bread, things like that. And what you kind of want to gauge yourself on for that is roughly a fist worth, which is about a cup worth, oats, things like that. And in that, you have actually got about 200 calories. So, quite a bit, quite a few added up over the day, but for that much volume of food, really good. Next kind of thing I'm going to kind of put into an indication for you also, something like nuts, okay? So for just a small handful of nuts, okay, like a little palm worth, you have got 170 calories. So quite a lot on the nuts. Same goes for peanut butter as well. For just your thumb worth of peanut butter, you've got about 170 calories there. So you can see how it's so easy to overeat the calories, especially kind of on your fat sources, so things that are higher in calories. But yeah, first thing I would probably look at, guys, is basically looking at your portion control. So look at making most of your meals the same, and judging yourself from there and being able to control how many calories you're putting in your body is probably one of the biggest things. So looking into more of a portion control thing. Next thing I want to go on to is fad diets. Okay, so things like juice diets and cabbage soup diets, all things like that, basically, and why to stay away from them. So yes, you get a quick fix. You will be able to lose about 1 stone within a week. However, what's going to happen is after that, your body's metabolism is going to drop drastically. Your body's natural digestive system isn't going to be working, because one of the biggest things you want to be focusing on is your digestion. In terms of food and that, if you're not digesting the food properly, you're not going to be able to utilize it into energy. Instead, it will be stored as body fat. So looking at digestion of food, the things with these diets, you get a quick fix, but then you will eventually gain the weight. And if not, I'm sure you maybe have all heard of it, but you actually might gain more weight than what you put on. So it's quite a big thing. A lot of people have heard about it. So you know someone that's maybe, started the cabbage diet or the soup diet or juice diet, and they've lost weight very quickly, but then sort of once they finish that diet, once they are done with it and they kind of are happy with their result and they want to then live a normal lifestyle, more likely than not, they're going to gain weight and they're going to put on more weight than when they started. Okay, so they might actually be heavier than before when they did the diet at the start, and they're still trying to eat healthy. And this is basically done because their body's metabolism has dropped. Okay, they're not getting the adequate amounts of proteins, carbohydrates, fats, micronutrients that their body needs in order to perform. And when I say perform, I don't just mean being able to go out and run really well or cycle very far. I mean perform as in drop body fat. Your body's metabolism, the efficiency of burning fat. Your body's efficiency at using fuel, so to create muscle glycogen, which is basically our body's energy. It stores in the muscle. So the body's ability to be able to digest food, put it in as muscle glycogen, and then utilize it as energy. So the things with these fad diets is, yes, you get the quick result, but you're going to put the weight on very quickly after. And also, unless you stick to these diets 100%, you're going to gain weight as well. If you can't just do like a soup diet or a juice diet 5 days a week and then have the weekend to have what you want, because it's not going to work that way, unfortunately. Whatever diet you do, you need to stick to. Studies have shown that the best diet out there isn't keto, it's not paleo, it's not low carb. It is simply the diet you can adhere to the most. So whatever you can stick to, year round, is the best nutrition plan for you. And I've used the word diet a few times, but I don't really like using that word. Nutrition, healthy lifestyle is kind of what we want to get out of this. Okay, so main thing to take away from fad diets: focus on eating proper foods. These will not work your digestive system, and it will not give you the body composition that you're looking for, okay? So your muscle to fat ratio, which leads me on to the next topic, which is skinny chubby. So as I like to call it, which is scubby. And that's basically your body that's lost too much weight, but a lot of your weight has come from the body fat. Instead of a lot of your weight, has come from the muscle, not the body fat. Okay, so it basically is going to leave you just as unhealthy, being that bit heavier or that bit lighter, because you've got that body fat still, than if you was still that, say, stone heavier. All right, so body composition is basically your body carrying unnecessary weight, and you've lost a lot of that muscle mass that you had. So the main thing you want to focus on is a good all-rounded diet. That's how you're going to make sure that you hold on to that muscle and drop that body fat. If you focus on bad dieting techniques, you're going to probably end up burning away a lot of your muscle instead of a lot of your fat, which will leave you just as unhealthy as when you was that bit heavier as well. So yeah, focus on good nutrition principles, getting in your protein, carbs and fats, your macronutrients, and not focusing on quick fixes is probably the best way to go about this. So yeah, just a little thing, body fat percentages for an average man are in fact between 26 and 28%, and average body fat for women are between got that the wrong way round. Average body fat percentage for a man is between 15 and 20%, and for an average woman it is between 26 and 28%. So yeah, focus on good nutrition principles and healthy eating is the main thing to take away from that. Next thing going on to is sleep. So probably one of the biggest factors that we don't take into account is our sleep pattern. And the body likes routine. It likes to get the same amount of hours sleep throughout the week. So try and focus on maybe getting in the same amount of sleep per night that you require, that your body requires. Some people may require only 5 hours sleep. Some people may require up to 9-10 hours sleep. You need to know how your body functions best. So one of the main things why you want to get enough sleep is it's going to help your performance. So like I said earlier, it's not just about the performance of being able to run really fast, cycle quick. It's actually the performance in burning body fat. So your body's ability to perform. Getting enough sleep is going to help with that. Recovery as well. So if you're not getting enough sleep, your body's not going to be recovering from the exercise that you're doing. And also, coming out of lockdown and that, you've been pretty sedentary for quite some time. So your body is going to be more tired on a daily basis. So getting enough sleep is going to be very important in terms of that as well. Metabolism, big thing as well. So if you're trying to lose body fat, metabolism is going to be one of the biggest things that you're going to want to keep high. And also having been, sedentary for 4 months, your body's metabolism is probably going to have gone down quite a bit. So unless you have been out there doing some form of exercise and healthy eating, it probably has taken a bit of a hit. So ensuring you get enough sleep is a very, very important factor for that. And I recommend anywhere from like 6 to 8 hours sleep. But as I said at the start, everyone is different. So you need to kind of work out how much sleep you need in conjunction with your training and your work lifestyle as well. So how do we why do we get a bad night's sleep? A bad night's sleep can be caused by numerous things such as caffeine or alcohol. Caffeine's a stimulant, it will wake you up, and alcohol is toxic for the body, so it's not going to digest very well. Sugar is, you think about marathon runners or people like that who, they have the gel packets or they have a banana that's going to give them that quick bit of energy. That's what the same thing will do too late at night. If you have fruit too late at night, it might spike your blood sugar levels and then wake you up. Next thing is actually spicy food. So peppers and spices can keep you awake as well. So maybe don't have spicy food too late near a night. And eating too fewer calories as well. If you're not getting enough calories that your body requires, you're not going to get enough rest that way as well. So what I recommend, eat required calories. Hydration, focus on being fully hydrated throughout the day. Probably anywhere between, I'd probably say like 2 to 4 litres is kind of where you need to be in terms of water, 2 litres minimum. Vitamins and minerals, so getting in a real healthy balanced diet, getting in the good nutrients that your body needs in order to just like grow skin, help the bones, hair, things like that. And then finally exercise, because exercise simply will tire you out. So yeah, getting in enough of those things will help a lot with your sleeping pattern. Next thing we're going to go on to then is kind of how to start your day. So I'm sure during lockdown, most of you have kind of had you've got into a little bit of a routine in terms of how you start your day. Maybe a lot of you have started eating more breakfasts because you've had the time to be able to eat breakfast. So now that you're back into your working life, things like breakfast you might now skip again, or you might be having a quick fix like a quick yogurt or something like that. But I want to try and teach you how to get a good breakfast in and why it's kind of important. You do hear the saying, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. However, this has been changed slightly. Every meal is important, but especially in goals in terms of energy, you need to kind of work out what works best for you. Do you work well off of a low carb breakfast? Do you run well off of a high carb breakfast? For example, I run really well off of a low carb breakfast because if I have too many carbohydrates, like a big bowl of oats in the morning, it tends to just make me very sleepy and lethargic. Whereas if I have something more like a couple of eggs with a couple of rations of bacon, something like that will actually sustain my energy a lot better and not cause a crash or anything like that. So try and work out what works for you. Just have a switch around with it. Try a real nutrient dense shake. So if you're in a rush, something like like a smoothie with lots of different fruit, maybe some oats, peanut butter, and if you have got it, some protein in there as well, just to give your body all the nutrients it needs. Another thing you could do as well is try the low carb breakfast, monitor how you feel on that for a week, and then the next week monitor yourself on a higher carbohydrate breakfast and see which one works best for you. But I would always try and recommend to get in some form of breakfast before 11 o'clock. So if you can eat before 11 o'clock, then try and get in something along those lines. Even if when you get to work, you then have something at work for you to have. But yeah, just really monitor how you feel, because it is very important that you do get in a nutritious breakfast. Next thing we're going to move on to then is the 3 macronutrients. So that is your proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And these are the things that make up your calories. So if you require 2,000 calories, X amount of that will come from protein, X amount of that will come from carbohydrates, and X amount of that will come from fats. And like I've said before, everyone's different, so what you require is different to what someone else may require. However, as a whole, we're going to talk about each macronutrient. So the first one we're going to go on to is protein. Now, protein is very, very important. Your body is actually 16% protein, so you need to ensure that you're eating enough protein for you to genuinely survive. And that is things like hair growth, nails, skin, all these kinds of things are helped through protein, through getting in enough protein for your body. Also, if you're exercising a lot, if you're going out for runs, if you're going out for bike rides, the gyms are now opening on Saturday the 25th. So if you're going back to the gym, the one thing you're going to really want to be focusing on is your protein. If you don't eat enough protein with all of the exercise you're doing, you're going to feel very lethargic and very tired because your muscle is in a catabolic state, which basically means it's breaking down. It's not recovering. Okay, so by getting in enough protein, we're going to put it in an anabolic state, which is going to help with muscle growth. So what kind of protein sources should we be eating? So I'd recommend anything from like chicken breasts, turkey steaks, turkey meatballs, white fish, eggs, preferably the egg white. So all of these kind of protein sources are very good for your body and high in protein. So getting in them. What you do want to focus on though, or watch out for, is a lot of protein sources are added with fats as well. So something like salmon, very good in protein, but a lot higher on the fat side of things as well. So the calories will be a lot higher. Try and stick to more white meats will be the best thing to have a higher protein and a lower fat content in it. If there are any vegans or vegetarians out there, then I'd recommend nuts and seeds for you. Anything from like walnuts, pecans, cashews are all very good for you. And in terms of beans as well, the best bean for protein is something called an edamame bean or edamame. I'm not really too sure how they actually say it, but that is going to be the best bean for you, along with black beans as well and soybeans. So getting in those are going to be very high in protein for you. So the next macronutrient that we're going to talk about is carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are actually our brain's most preferred source of fuel. Okay, so if you're feeling tired, you're feeling lethargic, one thing that's really going to kind of make you feel awake and make you feel more energized are carbohydrates. So something like fruit. If you're feeling very lethargic, getting in some fruit is going to make you feel a lot better. But there are 2 kinds of carbohydrates. Okay, so you have the sugary carbohydrates, and you have the starchy kind of carbohydrates, the slow releasing. So focusing on what carbohydrates is probably one of the most important things. So for instance, a bowl of oats is going to be very healthy for you. It's going to be very slow digesting because of the fiber content in it and the low sugar. It's going to be slow digesting, which is going to release energy over time, giving you enough energy to sustain, say, your working day. So as you've been sedentary a lot of the time through lockdown, you'll find that your working day might tire you out more. So something like a bowl of porridge will sustain your energy for most of that working day. However, if you need a quick fix within something like, say, 15-10 minutes, say you're going to exercise and you feel tired, but you need that little pick-me-up, something like a banana or an apple is going to digest very quickly in the body, and it's going to give you the energy that you require to get through that workout. Okay, so carbohydrates do have this bad rap of not being able to eat them too late at night, and I can understand that if you haven't trained a lot that day, if you haven't done a lot of physical activity, then you probably won't need many carbohydrates. But if you train in the evening after work, if you go to the gym or if you go out for a run, then please don't skip carbohydrates, because your body will require them, because you have just undergone a lot of exercise. So your body will need the carbohydrates at that time in able to perform well, like I said earlier, in terms of dropping body fat and being able to perform going out running. So what kind of carbohydrates should we be getting in our diet? So like I said, complex carbohydrates or starchy carbohydrates. So you want to be getting in things like oats, brown rice, brown pasta, sweet potato, white potato. All of these kind of carbohydrates are going to be slow releasing for the body. So these are things you would pair up with a meal. And then you've got your sugary carbohydrates. So then you've got your quick fixes, which would be fruit. So bananas, apples, pineapple. Lower carbohydrate fruits would be berries. So things like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. All those kinds of things are going to be a lot lower in carbohydrates. And if you're looking for a snack to pick on, something like those berries are going to be better for you. Yeah, so what I would try and stay away from like all the processed carbohydrates. That's where they get their bad rap from, and stick to the more wholesome kind of carbohydrates. A really good saying that I've heard is basically, the less hands it's touched, the better. So the less processed it is, the better it's going to be for you. So lastly, we're going to go on to the fats. So fats are the last thing when it comes to macronutrients, but it's also the easiest macronutrient to overeat. You hear so many people say, don't eat fats, eat fat, get fat. And this is so not the case. In fact, it's the complete opposite in the way that I see it. You need to eat fat to lose fat. If you don't eat a required amount of fat that your body needs, then it is not going to give up its original fat stores, because it's not having a healthy, adequate amount of fat coming into the body in order to survive. Our body needs protein to survive. Our body needs fats to survive. However, our body doesn't actually need carbohydrates to survive. We can live without them. Fats are essential though. It will help maintain our brains and our nervous system. So especially if you're working all day and then you're going back to, say, the gym after having a lot of time off, your central nervous system is going to take a huge hit from this. It's been doing maybe lots more cardio. It's been doing a lot more sitting down than normal. So going to the gym or going back to your exercising or back to your training, back to, I don't know, your boxing classes maybe, you're going to find that your central nervous system is going to take a huge hit from this. So ensuring that you're well fueled on your fat sources is going to be a massive point for this. So what kind of fats should we be eating? So you want to stick to more healthier fats, okay? So that is things like peanut butter, nuts, avocado, coconut oil. Coconut oil has actually got a thermogenic effect to it, which will help you burn body fat more efficiently. These are the kind of fats you want to stick to more. Nuts as well, high in potassium, very good for you. Walnuts, Brazil nuts. In fact, the lowest calorie nut out there is a pistachio. So that's a good one to snack on. However, the thing with fats is that it is so easy to overeat your calories because they are the highest calorie macronutrient per gram. So for carbohydrates and protein, you've got 4 calories per gram. And as for fats, you actually have 9 calories per gram. So it's over double the amount of calories for the kind of the portion size that you're getting. Hence why the peanut butter and the nuts at the start were so calorie dense. So yeah, just be careful on your fats. We need them, but overeating, once again, portion control. If you overeat, you're going to gain weight and you're going to eat too many calories and you're going to gain weight. So yeah, make sure you use that portion control system for your meals and your nutrition plan for yourself. So what you could do is try low or non-fat versions of food. So you could have things like low-fat Greek yogurt, which in conjunction is still good. But if you've got the room there for the calories to have full fat, then still have full fat. It's kind of more up to you as to what you choose. Add a handful of nuts or some avocado to a salad. And I would recommend, if you want to keep your fats low, use the 1 calorie oil spray. That will help you when doing your cooking. So Next one we're going to move on to then, which is very important, is fiber. Now, the reason fiber is so important is because it will slow down the digestion of food, giving your body time to be able to digest it and utilize it as muscle glycogen or repair muscles, or be just basically having that food, like that food, not store as body fat. If we digest food too quickly, like some things that are high in sugar, low in fiber, what will happen is our body will digest it, need to use it as energy, and then if it doesn't get used as the energy quick enough, it's going to then store as body fat. So pairing basically the carbohydrates, so with some things that are high in fiber, like your oats, like your brown rice, the lower sugar carbohydrates are going to be a lot better for you because of that fiber content. It's going to release a lot slower. So if you're struggling with getting in enough fiber, then I would probably recommend maybe looking at switching up things. So if you do eat white rice, eat brown rice. If you don't eat vegetables, look at eating more vegetables. If you eat, even things like bran flakes, some cereals are actually really good and high in fiber for you. So just try and get in enough fiber. It's going to help you burn your body fat as well and keep you fueled for a long period of time and keep you full up as well. The last thing we kind of want is to eat a meal and then be really hungry after it. So by eating enough fiber, it's actually going to keep you more full up for a lot longer. Right, next one we're going to go on to then quickly is sugar. So our body does need sugar in order to survive. In fact, we can't actually eliminate sugar from our body because almost every kind of carbohydrate is made up of sugar, even to the point of vegetables. So all carbohydrates have some form of sugar in it, but it just depends kind of where that sugar comes from. Obviously, fruit is very different because it is still sugar, but because of that fiber content in the fruit, it's actually going to slow down the digestion, giving you more time to burn that off. As opposed to something, say, like sweets, which are just high in sugar, no nutrients, no fiber. It's going to digest very quickly. And if you don't do any form of exercise, you're going to find that probably is going to turn to body fat. So yeah, be careful on that front. Sugars are needed. And also, all sugar's the same is basically what I want to get at. All sugar's the same, whether it's the sugar from the table, whether it's the sugar from like a honey jar or fruit, it's all the same, okay? It all has the same effect on your body. Like I said, the only difference is something like a banana or an apple or pineapple has got the fiber content in it, so it's going to slow down that digestion and make it a lot healthier for you. So I'm gonna just read you out a little chart here quickly, just so you can see how much sugar is in things. So something like rethink your drink is a little thing that I've got here, and basically a lot of the drinks that we actually drink in some of our favorite places have got a lot more sugar in than what we think. So here's one: Starbucks, a white chocolate mocha, has actually got 59 grams of sugar in it, which is roughly about 19 teaspoons. A Costa coffee, a hot chocolate, something you would think, oh, it's just a hot chocolate, a little bit of powder, nothing too much, has actually got 54 grams of sugar in it. So quite a lot on that front there. And also something like fizzy drinks. Okay, so stay away from the full fat, the full sugar fizzy drinks, because something like a bottle of Coke has got 17 teaspoons in. And that's not the big one. That's the 600 ml bottle of Coke that you buy. Along with Fanta, which has got 10 teaspoons, Monster energy drink, you're looking at about 16 to 19 teaspoons, and lemonade has got 13. So it's quite excessive how much sugar is actually in these drinks. So my recommendation to you would be to go for the diet version. So go for Diet Coke, go for Diet Fanta, go for Diet lemonades, and kind of be wary about where you get your sugar from. And also, if you're going to have a hot drink, make sure you use sweeteners. So, in fact, one of the best fizzy drinks that you can drink, which is also going to hydrate you as much as normal water, is actually soda water, even the flavoured one. So, flavoured sparkling water, flavoured like peach sparkling water, apple and raspberry, those sorts of things are actually going to give you just as much hydration as what normal water would as well. And also, like I said, coming out of lockdown, you're probably not getting in enough water because you're not around the house all day. And especially if you're exercising and using your brain more, it's going to be more dehydrated. So you're going to want to make sure you're getting enough water for that as well. So lastly, I just want to talk to you about getting started, staying motivated. So when it comes to especially coming out of lockdown, I think one of the biggest things is our motivation to get started again. If you've had a lot of time off of training or off of your nutrition plan, and now you've got to go back and get back on it, it's very hard to start because one, your body is probably not performing as well as what it was before the lockdown, and two, it's just that genuine been sitting down for 4 months. You know, you've been sat down for 4 months, you haven't moved, and now you've got to pick yourself up, go back to work, and also train as well. So your brain is doing a lot more thinking than what it was. So it's very important to stay motivated. So basically try and think back to why you started, why you use this as your pick you up. So why you started training in the first place, and not just training after lockdown because we know, I'm training to get back to where I was, or I'm training to better where I was. No, think back to when before you was training, to that reason as to why you was, eating your healthy meals, as to why you was getting up in the morning, going training before work. Think back to that reason. That's where you're going to want to focus on. And just accept that you might not be as efficient as what you was before lockdown. Just accept it, and then it's a lot easier to push through it and to get back to where you was in the first place. Plan. Okay, so plan yourself out. Don't just willy-nilly do it all. Don't just willy-nilly, have your breakfast and then not eat all day and then have more calories in the evening to make up for it. And don't just willy-nilly go into the gym, and don't just go, I'm just going to do this and I'm just going to do that. No, have a plan in place. Okay, have yourself a nutrition plan in place. Okay, so you know what you're having for your breakfast. Is it low carb? What fuels you best? Have that plan in place. When you go to the gym, when you go out for a run, when you go out for a cycle, or even hopefully the swimming pools, have a plan in place, a training plan, so that when you go back to it, you haven't got to use your brain. You just have to focus on that plan that's at hand. So make sure you plan it out, and also give yourself a time frame. So say for instance, we've just come out of lockdown, which has been 4 months. You want to get back to where you was before lockdown. So give yourself a time frame, and that's going to help you judge your plan a lot better to get back to where you was. Next thing we're going to move on to then, food diary. So make sure you keep a food diary. It's going to help a lot in terms of how you perform, how you feel, what, how you're feeling coming out of the lockdown after being sedentary for so long. You need to find out what fuels your body the best in order to be able to work efficiently and also be able to perform exercise as well. So kind of work out what fuels you best, trial and error some things, but mainly keep a plan of it, because especially if you're looking to lose some weight, if you've put some weight on during lockdown, make sure you focus on those calories and also what you're putting in your body. So keep a food diary or something like that, which will help a lot. So I think that is probably everything that I need to cover with you guys. In terms of exercise, basically just focus on whatever you was beforehand. Do what you enjoy. Have you been enjoying the running during lockdown? Have you been enjoying getting out on your bike? I know it's the English summer right now, but have you been enjoying these sorts of things? Has your cardiovascular efficiency improved a lot because you've been out running more than sort of in the gym or things like that? Kind of work out how you train best and what you most enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, you're never going to stick to it, unfortunately. And that's the harsh reality, is you can kid yourself that you love doing sprints and you love eating just chicken and broccoli to get your results. Yes, it gets the results, but I bet you can't stick to it. Unless you are determined as hell, you will struggle to stick to that 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So find something that you can adhere to. Like I said earlier, the best studies have shown for weight loss or muscle gain or anything like that, or fitness gains, strength gains, whatever it may be, mental health, anything that you can adhere to the most is going to be the best one for you. Okay? So take that away from this. I suppose I'll end on that note then. So I really, really hope you've all enjoyed watching this sort of quick nutrition and exercise briefing with myself. I hope you've wrote a lot of things down and you've got a good idea of what you need to do now in terms of your healthy eating plan and also in terms of how you're going to train from here as well. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you to the Greenwich and Bexley Community Hospice. Thank you very much for having me. Wishing you all the best coming out of lockdown. And take it easy, guys. See you later.